Chris Godinez, licensed professional counselor, also the host of We Need to Talk with Chris Godinez, me, myself, and I. This video is for educational and informational purposes only. If you feel you need a therapist, please go to Google, type in therapy, your city, and Psychology Today will pop up, and you can find therapists in your area. Also, the views and opinions stated herein are mine and mine alone. They do not represent the ACA, the APA, or any other therapist for that matter. Boom. Done. Okay, so whole bunch of questions. First of all, I did the the book signings yesterday, which was so awesome. I cannot thank you guys enough for showing up and allowing me to meet you and talking and answering questions and things like that. That was really awesome. The day was fantastic, Grace. I had such a great time. We did the lecture today in Smyrna, Georgia, and we had a whole bunch of people show up, and it was wonderful. And it was so nice to be able to answer your guys' questions. And this is what I love, is because if you have a question, I can guarantee you somebody else out there has the exact same question, and they just may not be brave enough to ask it. So please, if you guys have got questions, feel free to ask it, because I can answer it. And I don't care how many times I have to answer the same question, because again, it takes between 100 and 200 times of hearing new information for it to sink through. So that's perfectly okay if you guys are asking questions. So don't be afraid to ask, and don't be afraid to ask similar questions or the same question, because I love answering questions, so this is good. So today was fantastic. Had a great time. It started raining. It is so beautiful here in Georgia. I can't even begin to tell you. It's just gorgeous. It's just like green and green and trees with green and lots of trees and green. So it's pretty awesome. I'm tired of people saying men cannot be verbally and emotionally abused. Oh, of course they can. Oh, don't even get me started. So here's the deal, guys. Abuse cuts across sexes, it cuts across cultures, it cuts across everything. So you absolutely, men can be verbally and emotionally and physically abused. I have seen female abusers beat the living crap out of their spouses. You betcha. And it cuts across gender roles as well. So, you know, LGBTQ couples, yeah, if one is abusive, yeah, absolutely. So you can be female and be an abuser, abso-freaking-lutely. You can be male and be an abuser. You can be female and be the target of abuse. You can be male and be the target of abuse. So yeah, yeah, men can absolutely be abused. Are you kidding me? And I have seen some of the most heinous abuse by female abusers. Heinous. I mean, heinous. In some ways, I think they're almost worse than the male abusers. So yeah, absolutely. Do narcissists ever wake up at the point of death, or are they just unplugged until they get where they go in the afterlife? Okay, that's kind of a philosophical question, but here's my opinion. They don't get it. They don't get it. And if they do get it, if it's a deathbed awakening, it's because they're afraid. Because show me a narcissist and I will show you somebody who's terrified of dying. Because they can't control it. Remember, narcissist, the dark triad, the psychopath, the narcissist, the Machiavellian, the dark triad, they're all about power and control. And what is the one thing you can't control? Well, that would be death. And that would be because we don't know what goes on in the afterlife. We don't. So if there's a conversion as they're on their deathbed, it's because they're terrified. It's because they're afraid of the afterlife. They're afraid of facing what they have done to other people. And it depends on your, thank you, Amy. It depends on your belief system, but a lot of us believe that when we die, we go and we review what we have done in this life. What were the lessons learned? What did we do? What karma did we create? What happened? And if you have been living a life that is less than honorable, it ain't gonna be pretty. It ain't gonna be pretty. Whether you're Christian or Buddhist, it ain't gonna be pretty. So yeah, they're terrified of that. They're terrified of death, and they're terrified of the beyond, because they will eventually have to account to something, someone, something, whatever. So yeah, so there's that. My narc mom broke dad's arm with a cast iron skillet. Oh, geez, ouch. Okay, Chris, I'm reading your recent book. It's awesome. Thank you for sharing your wisdom. You're very welcome. What are the easiest key things someone could do if they have CPTSD or other issues but cannot afford therapy? Get the CPTSD workbook by CPTSD from Surviving to Thriving by Pete Walker. Then there is also a CPTSD workbook. So get the workbook, get the CPTSD from Surviving to Thriving by Pete Walker, get the Self-Esteem workbook by Schiraldi, get the Diseased Please by Harriet Breaker, and start working those books. Just start working them. You can start working on yourself. So let's talk a little bit about CPTSD. CPTSD is complex, meaning it happens over and over and over and over again. Post, after the fact, traumatic, it was an awful event, stress, anxiety, disorder. You're not handling it well. So we have a lot of the same symptoms of PTSD, but think of it this way. PTSD is a one-time event. It's like a revolver versus a machine gun, okay? One-time event, traumatic, awful, terrible, it happens and it's done. With complex, it happens over and it happens over and it happens over. And it's not the same abuse. I mean, so for example, the abuser one time could decide to keep you up at night, right, screaming at you, and then the next time they could humiliate you in public. It's all abuse. It's all abuse. But they do different things, but they do it consistently, and they do it over time, and they do it over and over and over again. So you're going to have signs and symptoms of that. You might have an exaggerated startle response. You might have trouble sleeping. You might suffer from nightmares. You have autoimmune diseases. You've got issues going on with armoring. So armoring is when we start tensing up because we're so tense all the time. And pretty soon our muscles start contracting and they kind of stay that tense. And if you go to get a massage, it's like trying to massage iron, basically. And it's called armoring. So yeah, you want to watch for these type of things. And you want to take care of yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, seriously. So get those books, start working on that. But then I also want you to start working on exercising, eating healthy, making sure you're drinking enough water. We don't drink enough water, I think. So, and taking care of any sort of autoimmune diseases that are happening, because when we are under huge stress like that and somebody is depriving us of sleep and isolating us from family and friends, that causes a huge amount of stress on the body, the mind, and the spirit. So you've got to take care of yourself. It's not just a, how to explain this? It's not just a, here's the emotions over here, here's the body over here. It's like you've got to take care of the body, the mind, and the spirit all at once. So really, super take care of yourself. Super take care of yourself. Read those books, take care of yourself. If an abuser is using the child to abuse the other parent, which they do, does it ever get old for the abuser, or do you just need to take legal action? Legal action. Oh, hell to the yes. Yeah, you're going to have to take legal action. It never gets old for them. As long as they know that they are inflicting suffering and pain on you, and it's hurting you, and it's harming you, and you're upset about it, oh, they're going to keep doing it. Absolutely. This is narcissistic supply for them. This is their game. That's why they use the child as a pawn against the other parent and either do parental alienation, or they do the let's use the kid to hurt the other parent. Let's play games. Let's, do that type of thing. Where did I go? Hang on. Yeah, you want to get a good lawyer. This is the biggest mistake people make. Excuse me. They don't get a good lawyer. When you go up against one of these assholes or assholelettes, depending on whether it's a male or female abuser, because remember, it can be both. It can be either. You need to have a really good lawyer. You do, because you want to make sure you and your child are absolutely protected. Okay. It's hard when the plane was rolling and all inside knew death was coming. Then my father's thoughts were likely not about me or my sister. Yeah. Nope. Probably not. Okay. Good evening, everybody. Okay. Please address mothers who are smeared and abused by adult malignant borderline daughter. My ex is undiagnosed borderline. I raised her by myself. Now father is the hero because I had to go no contact with her. Okay, that's a tough one. So when we are dealing with an adult child, okay, and the child has got a personality disorder, whether it's borderline or whether it's narcissism or whether it's avoidant or whether it's paranoid or any of those other ones, and it gets to the point where you have to go no contact, it is really hard. It is. So what I strongly suggest is get with a good therapist. Work on you, because if they're adult and they've chosen to side with the other parent who is apparently abusive, there's really not much you can do. You can work on you. You can work on you, and that's pretty much all you can do. And you maintain really good boundaries, and you love them from afar, and you do not allow them to manipulate, control, or do other bullshit to your life. So it's just like, it's kind of like dealing with anybody else. I know that there's some guilt involved because it's a child. And of course, the natural inclination is to be like, what did I do wrong? Oh my God, how did I screw this up? But here's the deal. Nature, nurture, nature, nurture. How much of this is nature? How much of this is nurture? We don't know, guys. We don't. Because you can have a family that has 4 or 5 normal, relatively speaking, kids in it, and then one of them will just be off the rails, you know, and you're kind of sitting there going, what the hell happened to that one? Nature, nurture, you know, it's a combination, I'm pretty sure. So don't be hard on yourself. Do go to therapy. Do take care of yourself. Maintain incredibly strong boundaries. Do not allow this child to cross over those boundaries. And the second they do, you stop. You just, nope, we're done. Thanks for playing. Bye-bye. Absolutely. Okay. I bet there's a lot of veterans have actually got complex post-traumatic stress disorder because they were in a war zone and it's not just one traumatic event. Yeah, exactly. So when I work with veterans, especially the ones that have served in Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan, you know, places like that, and they've had to deal with, what's it called, the roadside bombs, that type of thing, and that was an everyday occurrence, everyday occurrence, everyday occurrence, everyday occurrence, or finding out that some other person in their unit had been harmed or killed or, you know, maimed or whatever. Yeah, it was complex because it was, good Lord, my hair is exploding. It's raining outside and my hair is getting exponentially bigger. So yeah, they would experience this over and over and over again. So I really do think that the VA needs to take a look at the fact that this was not just a one-time thing. It was, you know, over a series of days, weeks, months, years, depending on how long they served. Okay, yeah, absolutely. So, okay. Thinking about getting out. Husband is a narcissist. Can he use my mental health issues against me to get to the kids? Yeah, he can try. But here's the thing. It depends on what state you're in, because a lot of judges do not play that. So in Arizona, they're starting to come to their senses with that a little bit. And they don't like it when the abusive parent starts playing games in court, because honestly, most judges just want to get stuff settled and off the docket, as quickly as possible, Can they use mental health issues against you? The only time they could is if there was any sort of neglect or abuse, you know, so they can't be like, oh, well, she saw a counselor, so she's crazy, or he saw a counselor and was depressed, so he's crazy. They can't do that because there's no neglect, there's no abuse. It's like, okay, so is like 40% of the United States. So what's your point? So no, that's why you need a good attorney. That's why you need a good attorney, so that if he starts pulling mental health issues, you make sure that your attorney goes, wrong. The kids are taken care of. They're fed. They're bathed. They're, you know, got a roof over their head. They're getting to school on time. The teachers have no problem. So what's your problem? So that's what you want to do. Can they try it? Yeah. Here's the thing. In a divorce case, trust me when I say that the abuser will pull any and everything in order to try to mess with you. Absolutely. And if you have any sort of shame about anything, like if you're sensitive about mental health stuff, you bet they're going to go for that jugular. They're going to work that jugular like nobody's business, because they know it's sensitive and they know you're embarrassed by it. So that's why it's kind of like loud and proud. Seriously, it's like, great, you're gonna call me out for being depressed? Fuck you. You damn straight I'm depressed because I was married to your sorry ass. Do you see where I'm going with that? So yeah, you don't let them pull that bullshit. Absolutely. You get a good attorney, and yeah, can they try to use it? Yeah, they can try, but they're not going to get anywhere unless caveat, the kids have been endangered in some way, shape, or form. And then yeah, they could probably get somewhere with that, but that would really be the only time that they could do that. So honestly, get with a good attorney, find out what your rights are, find out how you can fight that, and just go to town. Absolutely. Any plans on coming back to the Southeast? Yes, actually, yes. So Chris and I were talking, Chris Piedmont and I were talking. Chris is my manager. So honestly, guys, if you guys want to see me, please contact Beth at Mercury, spelled MURCURI, .com. And she is the one that is starting to put together the tour dates, because we're getting a lot more interest in different places, and we're trying to figure out how we're going to do this and where we're going to go and all of that sort of good stuff. So if you have independent bookstores that you know would be interested in me coming out and doing a book signing or a lecture, just get a hold of Beth, B-E-T-H, at Mercury, MURCURI, .com. Beth at mercury.com. Yes. And she can set up the, take all the information and start setting up the tour dates. So that would be cool. Yes, I am planning on coming back to the Southeast at some point. We're talking about doing Florida in December. So that's the evil plan. So right now, the next tour date is going to be Boise, Idaho in the end of August. Then I'll be in Hawaii in November. So I'll be doing a book signing in Hawaii and hopefully a lecture in Hawaii as well in Oahu, at Honolulu. I'll get the details as soon as I get the details. And then in December, we're planning on coming back to Florida. Probably the Miami, Hollywood, Fort Lauderdale area, around in there. So that's the evil plan right now. And then at some point we're going to do California. We're just going to do like, pick a state, any state, and then start doing, you know, states kind of thing. So that's our evil plan right now. So do get a hold of Beth at Mercury.com and she can start, you know, setting up tour dates and figuring out where the interest is and all that sort of good stuff. Okay, whoa, that got really large. What the heck happened? Okay, there we go. Yeah, hi Kiwa. So I'm doing it now because I was off doing the lecture, so. Okay. Oh, or you can contact Chris at Mercury.com. So either Chris or Beth at Mercury.com. So Chris, C-H-R-I-S, at Mercury, M-U-R-C-U-R-I.com. So either one of those people, and let's figure out, you know, where we've got the interest at, and then we'll just start setting stuff up because I like to travel. This is my evil plan, is to travel and do lectures and sign books and talk to y'all and help y'all out because it makes me very happy. So why not? I love the name of your company, yeah. Okay. Okay, I am going on 1 year of no contact. It has been hoovering and things of the like, but is there a time when watching you becomes an unhealthy thing? I love you, but I have had family member tell me to stop watching you because it keeps me in the past. Well, here's the thing. It's a balance between learning and moving forward, learning and moving forward. You do not want to get stuck in the past. If you are getting stuck in the past, and if for some reason watching my stuff is keeping you stuck in the past, then yes, stop. But if for some reason it's not, then keep watching. So basically, it's only a problem when it becomes a problem, if that makes any sort of sense. And the other thing of it is too, remember, we need to have reinforcement. We need to hear things over and over and over again in order for it to sink into our addicted brain, because we are addicted to the intermittent positive rewards, not the abuse. And as an addict, it's hard for us to accept stuff until we hear it multiple times because we're an addict and our brains do not allow us to have things so through. So if you are living in the past, yeah, absolutely. If for some reason this is dragging stuff up from the past, you're not moving forward, then that's a problem. If you're listening to this stuff and you kind of go backwards, but then you go forwards, then that's okay. And really, you're the only one that can decide that. So don't let people tell you what to do. You're not the boss of me. Seriously, you got to figure this out for yourself. Okay. Hello, poppies. Oh, I would love to go to Tennessee. Are you kidding me? I love Tennessee. I love the South. I love the cooking of the South. it is so bad for me, but I love the cooking of the South. I love collard greens. I love barbecue. I love mac and cheese. Oh my God. We went to Miss Mary Mac's tea room and we had mac and cheese. And here's the funny thing. It was listed under vegetables. I'm like, okay, I've never seen macaroni and cheese listed as a vegetable. So, but it just cracked me up. Anyway, great food, amazing food. Oh my God. Okay. Yes, please email Beth or Chris and let them know where you are, where you would love for me to come and do these lectures and book signings, because that's the best way for us to figure out where the interest is and where we can get the most, most bang for everybody's buck. So that's basically what we're going to do. Okay. All right. Yeah, Southern food is amazing. It is just, oh, I'm loving this. If I can just keep coming back to Kentucky, Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, I'd just be a happy girl. Can a narcissist have sociopathic traits? Abso-freaking-lutely. Let's talk about that. So with a malignant narcissist, okay, they match all the criteria. They hit every single criteria of a narcissist. That's NPD. Narcissistic personality disorder, which you will find in the DSM-5. So yeah, they will have all of the traits of a narcissist. That's malignant. Then when you get to the dark triad, okay, so you've got narcissist, sociopath or antisocial, and then Machiavellian. Yes, they absolutely will have antisocial traits because this is how they get along in the world. So how do I explain this? You cannot harm another person without having antisocial traits. Seriously. Because they enjoy it. They enjoy it. They enjoy the power and the control, and they enjoy the ha ha ha, I got you kind of thing. And yeah, they absolutely can be sociopathic or antisocial or sociopath or psychopath or whatever. Absolutely. I've been educating myself for a few years. I'm always up to learning more. Pathology is absolutely fascinating. Yeah, it really is. Abnormal psychology was always my favorite. It's like, you know, the studying the cuckoos, the real cuckoos. So I can protect other people from them. I view the world and people in it completely differently now. Yeah, and you kind of have to. You really kind of, and that was a really interesting question that I got today was, I don't want to be, so this person had gone through an abusive relationship and they didn't want to be paranoid, but they also didn't want to be so open that they allowed every single abuser to walk in. And I think that is what you need to do. This is the reason why it's important to study up on narcissism and sociopathy and abnormal psychology and things like that, so that you recognize one of these people and you can sidestep them without having to get into a relationship with them. So, but you also don't want to be so paranoid as that you're like, okay, who are you and what are you doing and da 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 da. But you want to be paranoid enough so you're kind of like, whoa, let's put the brakes on this. Let me find out who you are first, and then we can move forward with a friendship or a relationship. So it's a tightrope walk. It's a tightrope walk. But you gotta be just paranoid enough to protect yourself, but just open enough so that you don't shut yourself out and self-isolate, if that makes any sort of sense. What do you reckon would happen if you chuck two cluster Bs into a relationship? No, wait, come back. Utter disaster, long-term negative supply feedback loop, Willy Wonka and the Crazy Factory. I like that. Hang on a second. Okay, so, and we were talking about this today at the lecture. So the most common pairing is a narcissist, an abuser, with an empath, somebody normal that feels love and happiness and joy, because they're like black holes and we're like a star, okay? And they get attracted to our light, and so what do? They suck us in and they suck us dry. The next most common pairing is a major narcissist with a minor narcissist, okay? And that looks pretty on the outside, okay? So they put on the show for everybody, but as soon as the camera is off of them, holy mackerel, it is a shit show like nobody's business. And it's all behind closed doors, right? Because they want to put up the facade of everything's great. And especially if they've got an old supply that they are trying to make feel horrible, like, oh, look how fabulous this relationship is. Oh, snooky mookums, everything's great, but it's not. So that's the next most common. And then the worst combination that I have seen, and is very common, narcissists seek out borderlines, not just any borderlines. They don't go for the witches and the queens. They go for the quiet ones. And that is the most damaging thing to happen to a quiet borderline ever. Because what ends up happening is that the narcissist literally feeds off of the borderline like a vampire. Like they just suck them dry, and the borderline just keeps spiraling out of control and into complete chaos. And the narcissist doesn't care. They're getting their narcissistic supply from it. So yeah, it can be an utter disaster. It can last for quite a long time because they're both too afraid to let the world know that they fucked up. So yeah, it's a thing. It's usually not a pretty thing either. I like that Willy Wonka and the Crazy Factory. That's pretty much it. And I feel sorry for any kid that's caught in the middle of that. So they have to, they see the crazy, they do. And then they'll come home to the other parent and say, yeah, this is going on. And then it's kind of validating for that parent, because then they get to see, oh yeah, okay, so this little snoochy moochums thing is not real. So yeah. All right. How do we get people over the maybe they've changed that they tell themselves? Okay, here's the deal, guys. When somebody is an abuser, they do not change. The leopard does not change its spots. It doesn't. And what we do is we get stuck in the thinking that everybody thinks and feels the way we do, because healthy, normal people expect other healthy, normal people to be the way that we are. It's like you treat each other with respect. You treat each other with kindness. You treat each other with dignity. Okay, you don't go out of your way to hurt people or scream at them or call them names or threaten them or, whatever. So we expect other people to behave the way that we do, but they don't. They don't. So you've got to get it through your head. There is no there for them. There is no moral compass. There is no sense of shame, and there is no sense of, gee, I shouldn't be doing this because this is harming them. They don't care. They don't act the way we do. They do not have that emotional cog. They do not have that, gee, if I do this, this is going to hurt somebody. They don't care. They view us as objects. We are objects to them. No different than this glass, okay? That's what we are to them. We're something to be used. We don't have feelings. Glasses don't have feelings. Glasses don't care. They don't view us as a sentient being. They view us as an object to be used. And so you've got to get over the whole, oh, but they've changed. Oh, but they're in counseling. Yeah, for how many times? Once? Twice? Maybe? 3 if they got a counselor that they pull the wool over? Yeah, they don't change. Actions. Actions speak louder than words. So that's lovely that they're giving you beautiful words. What are their actions? That's what you got to look for. If the actions are not any different, then they have not changed. They are not being any different. So you've got to look for the actions, not the words. Narcissists can say the most beautiful words and put Shakespeare to shame. Seriously, but it's the actions you got to look at. If the actions don't match the words, then Houston, we got a problem. So look to the actions. Actions will not lie. Words will lie. Actions will not. Okay. And they don't change. They don't get better. They get worse with age. They absolutely do. They decompensate. It's not pretty. If you have ever seen an aged narcissist, and I'm talking like geriatric, and nursing homes are filled with them, they are the ones that are no longer attractive. Okay, they've lost their looks because they're older. They don't have power anymore. Their money probably has run out, so they can't order people around like servants, which is what they do. So you'll see nursing homes filled with aging narcissists. Absolutely. And they treat the staff like shit. I witnessed it when my mom was in her care facility, and she was always so careful to thank everybody and thank you for this and thank you for that and this, I'm really appreciative and this, that, and the other thing. And then there were other people in there that were like snapping their finger at the staff, and I'm just like, you're a bitch. No wonder they don't treat you well, because you're an asshole. Not that they should treat them poorly, but they didn't take the care with them that they did with my mom. And it was because of the way they were treating people. And aging narcissists don't do well. They get worse. They get worse and they get worse and they get worse. And what we were talking about earlier is they're terrified of dying. And yet it's going to be in their face the whole time, especially when they're in a care facility, because it's like that's all you're faced with is aging other people and people dying. So yeah, they don't do well. They really don't do well. And they're kind of reaping what they have sowed. So not a whole lot of sympathy for them. How many traits would a narcissist have that would classify them on the malignant side? You only need 5 out of the 9. You only need 5 out of the 9. So let me put it to you this way. A truly, truly crazy cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs narcissist meets all 9 out of the 9. Yeah, it's kind of scary. So you only need 5 out of the 9. And you will see with some of them, you can just sit there and just go down the list. Check. Oh, yeah, check. Oh, sense of entitlement, check. Lying about accolades you never got, check. I can't name them all off the top of my head because I don't have my DSM-5 here because I forgot to bring it with me. But yeah, they meet all 9 criteria. All you got to do is go on to Google and type in DSM-5 criteria for NPD, and it should pop up. If not on the DSM-5, it'll pop up Mayo Clinic. So Mayo Clinic will have all of the criteria needed for narcissism, and you just need to meet 5 of them out of the 9. So yeah. Okay. My ex is a mixed bag of cray-cray. NPD, ASPD, and HPD. Such a pain in the ass, emotionally arrested toddler. So glad I cut the apron strings. Yeah, and you have to, because when somebody has got narcissism combined with antisocial, it is never a good thing, ever. It's a recipe for disaster because they are all about them and they don't care. and they don't care what rules they break because the rules don't apply to them, and they don't care whether they hurt people, and that's just not a good combination. Could you describe a flashback? Sometimes I start thinking of a bad situation from the past and feel angry or sad, kind of like daydreaming, but I don't feel like I'm there in time. I just feel the hurt. Is that a flashback? Yeah, it is. So let's talk about the amygdala, okay? Left side, right side. This is your amygdala. It's an almond-shaped organ that sits about an inch inside of each ear. Now, the problem with the amygdala is it's stupid. Like really, truly, 3 O's, stupid. It cannot tell the difference between a daydream, a real threat, a thought about a real threat, a past threat, an emotional threat, a thought about an emotional threat. It all feels like red alert, shields up, oh my God, we're gonna die. So with some people, they get so wrapped up in it that it does feel like it's happening right here, right now. With other people, it is the emotion. It is the emotion. So the hurt as if it was happening right here, right now. So yes, that is an emotional flashback. You absolutely bet. So it's caused because we brought up the thought, the amygdala saw the threat, and then it did the cascading series of events, which is to tell the hippocampus hypothalamus to release cortisol. Okay, we release cortisol, we start tensing up. We're getting ready to fight, flight, freeze, or give in, fawn. And then we're breathing little teeny tiny puffy breaths, and that tells another part of the brain, oh my God, we're gonna die. So then that tells the adrenal gland that sits on top of the kidney to release all of the adrenaline at once. And now we've got all of this adrenaline, all this energy getting us ready to run away, kill something, freeze, or give in. Nowhere to run, nothing to kill. Can't really freeze on the 101, that would not be a good idea. And giving in to who? It's a thought, you know. So we either go into a panic attack or an emotional flashback where we feel the hurt and we feel the pain and we feel the sadness and we feel the loneliness, or we go into a rage attack. So best thing to do, breathe, just breathe, and remind yourself, okay, this is in the past. Yes, I was daydreaming about it. I don't have to feel it. It's not happening right here, right now. I can let this go. I can choose to not invite it in for coffee. So that's the thing, guys, is that we are going to have thoughts. We are going to have thoughts. And you don't want to resist them. You know, you don't want to be like, oh, pink elephant taking a shit in the corner of the living room. Okay, I'm not thinking about the pink elephant. I'm not thinking about the pink elephant. What the fuck am I thinking about the whole time? The pink elephant. But what you do want to do is you do want to go, oh, look, there's a pink elephant. Yeah, okay, well, don't particularly like the pink elephant. Do I need to deal with the pink elephant right now? No, I really don't. I think I'm just going to let that pink elephant sit there for a while. And pretty soon the pink elephant starts shrinking. Why? Because you have dealt with it. You've acknowledged it. You've gone, yep, there's a pink elephant. Yep, not inviting it in for coffee. Not going to do it. Wouldn't be prudent. So, yeah, that's that. So it's thought stopping, but it's also thought acknowledging and not resisting. It's a fine line. So you can see the thought and you can say, hello, thought, I see you. And, I'm not going to invite you in. Not going to do it. I'm not going to resist you, but I'm not going to invite you in either. So it's a fine line. They feed off of empaths. So let's define empath. An empath is somebody who feels. That's all it means, is somebody who feels, which is 99.9999999% of the world. And the ones who don't feel are the narcissists and the antisocial people. So yeah, they love feeding off of empaths because we have something they don't. They don't have that emotional cog. They don't view people as human. They view them as objects. So keep that in mind. Could you possibly be able to explain the relationship between the mother who is a covert narcissist and an enmeshed daughter? I have a lot of cognitive dissonance. It is completely mindfuckery. One minute I feel concrete and certain I can spot the manipulation, and the next minute I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm convinced I'm the abuser, exhausted. Okay, so narcissistic mothers, okay, are the worst. They are. Well, narcissistic father's the worst too. Fuck it. Narcissistic parents are the worst, okay? Because they set us up, okay? They are the ones that create the original wound. So a narcissistic covert mother usually, not always, but usually plays the victim card really well, makes the child be the adult in the relationship, so that they come to the kid and they're telling the kid all of their deepest, darkest secrets and all of their angst and all of their, it's like they use the kid as a therapist kind of thing. And they make the child emotionally responsible for everything. Like the kid is supposed to be an adult. The kid grows up way the fuck too fast. way the fuck too fast. And so they do all of this stuff that causes the kid to feel unnaturally responsible for everybody in the family. So it's really, so like if something goes south, the parent will blame the kid instead of the parent taking responsibility for their own fuck up. So children of narcissistic parents, but in particularly narcissistic mothers, it becomes very enmeshed because the parent cannot define where they begin or end versus where the kid begins or ends. And so it's this blurred boundary that keeps getting crossed over and over and over and over again. And then the kid never learns boundaries because the parent never showed them boundaries. And then the kid feels responsible for the parent's well-being, hello, codependency. And then, you know, then when things go south and the kid starts figuring it out and starts separating from the parent turns it around, flips it on the kid and says that the kid's the abuser. Yeah, no bueno. Here's the question to ask yourself. If you were not related to these people, would you have anything to do with them? If the answer is no, act accordingly. Seriously. Because if you weren't related to them, would you put up with this? The answer to that is no, you probably wouldn't. So don't. You don't need to. You owe them goose egg. You owe them nothing. And yes, it is exhausting because they are drainers. They will drain you dry. They will absolutely drain you dry. So yep, they feed off of us, you bet. So you've got to protect yourself, and the best solution is to not be around it because they're never going to change. They're never going to get better. They're never going to, you know, suddenly wake up and smack themselves in the head and go, oh my God, I was such a horrible parent. I'm so sorry I abused you. That's never going to happen. They're never going to get it. So the only thing you can do is take care of yourself, work on that codependency, work on your self-esteem, get your certainty back. You're not wrong. You're not wrong, but they love to make us think that we are wrong. So you got to get your certainty back, and the best way to do that is to not be around them, because every time you get around an abuser, what do? They use your brain as a playground and they mind fuck you. Absolutely, you've got to get away from them. You've got to get some space, work with a good therapist, work on your self-esteem, work on your certainty, get rid of that codependency issue, stop trying to take care of them, stop trying to caretake them. That's not your job. It's not your job. It's not your job. Abso-freaking-lutely not your job. Resign. Give them a resignation letter. Absolutely. I hope that answers the question. What defines a quiet borderline? Okay, so there are 4 types of borderline. Okay, hold on. So at one end we have traits of. Okay, traits of is, you know, okay, some emotional dysregulation, some kind of strange thoughts, you know, the kind of making associations that are really not there, that kind of thing. So those are traits of. You get a little bit histrionic, you know, a little bit attention seeking, a little bit, but not a lot. Okay, so it's like traits of. Quiet borderlines are the ones who internalize everything. So they internalize it. So instead of externalizing it and taking it out on everybody and their dog, they're the ones who internalize it and feed upon themselves, unfortunately. And they often do the suicidal thoughts, suicidal gestures, because they are in such intense pain, they don't know what to do with it. Then you move up to the hermit ones. And the hermit ones are a little bit more outwardly expressed. They're still mostly inwardly expressed. There's a lot of martyrdom with them, kind of thing. And then you move to the witches and the queens, or the queens and the witches. So the queens are, now we're into the malignant end. So with the queens, they're control freaks. Machiavellian to the nth degree. They need to control everything and everyone. They have emotional dysregulation out the yin yang. They're constantly drama, screaming matches, always in fights with other people. You know, it's just crazy. Then you get to the witches, and the witches are the sadists. The witches are the ones that enjoy inflicting physical pain as well as emotional pain on their target of abuse. Yeah, it's not pretty. So the quiet ones are the ones that internalize it. They're the ones with traits of. They're the ones that are still introspective enough that they know something's kind of wrong, and they immediately blame themselves as opposed to spewing it out all over everybody else. They tend to harm themselves. They tend to do a lot of self-harms. Those you can work with. Those, there's enough there that you can help them if they so choose. Once you start moving to the queens and the witches, forget it. Stick a fork in them, they're done. Because they enjoy the drama, they enjoy the pain, they enjoy the suffering, they enjoy watching people hurt. So yeah, so that's a quiet borderline. Let's see. My ex didn't care about anything in the last Hoover. She sent me this letter right before Easter. It looked like I was an object and finally forgives me. Oh my God. Wow. Have you heard of the British guy H.G. Tudor? If you have, what do you think of him, his counseling of people? Some of his articles, I've read some of his articles, and some of them are good, but some of them are not. So I really don't have much of an opinion. So, and I didn't know he was counseling people. So, hi, Chris. Nice meeting you today. Oh, yeah, Megan. Nice to meet you, too. I'm glad me and my friend got to come today. I had to help her scoot around. Oh, gosh. I hope her foot feels better. Oh, my goodness. Thank you for coming. It was so nice meeting you guys. I had so much fun. I really did. I loved it. Okay, let's see. Yeah, Deborah, I wish I could have met you, too. That's too bad we didn't get to see each other. Will a narcissist have only one target, or do they need more? You know, it depends. Some are some are serial targets. You know, it's like they go from one person to the next, to the next, to the next. Some of them need a harem. So how do I explain this? Usually with a malignant narcissist, they need that constant entourage, that constant supply, that constant tell me I'm great, tell me I'm great, tell me I'm great kind of thing. Are those targets? Yeah, I kind of think they are, because they're using them. They're using them to feed their ego. So they need a lot of flying monkeys. They need an entourage. They need people to sit there and go, oh, you're so fabulous, and you're so right, and you're so this, and you're so that, and let's all hate this one person. You know, that's what flying monkeys do. So, yeah, I think they have multiple targets. I do. I think they can have one main target, but then I do think that they can have multiple targets too, absolutely, because they feed off of people. They don't see people as people, they see them as objects. So yeah, the more supply for them, the better as far as they are concerned. The narcissist I know will change her target to whomever will give her the time of day. Yeah, it depends. And it depends on what you mean by target. So they love attention, right? So, and they don't care whether it's positive or negative. That's the thing. It's like the old saying. It's like, I don't care what you say about me, just spell it right in the papers or something like that. That's kind of like how the narcissists are. So they don't care whether the attention is positive or whether it's negative, as long as they are being talked about. That's all they care about, or acknowledged or validated or whatever. So they are very much attention whores, in that if they are not getting attention from their partner, their supply of choice, they will seek it out from somebody else. Absolutely. Yeah, they're not known for faithfulness. So yeah, and narcissists are generally the ones that cheat. Narcissists are generally the ones that go from one affair to another, to another, to another, to another, to another, because they're insatiable with their ego. They can't get their ego enough attention. So yeah. Okay, or they will also have a target of abuse be somebody. Okay, so for example, you're with a narcissist, you're with an abuser. The abuser either leaves you or you leave them. And if they leave you, they have found a new supply. They will get together with that new supply and use you as the triangulation and make you the bad guy, so that they take the attention off of them, so that their new supply doesn't figure out that they are in fact the problem. And they will keep looking outwards towards a particular X in order to keep that animosity going, so that the new supply never figures out that it's really the narcissist that's the problem. But eventually that will stop as well, as long as that target finally just stops all contact. And now it's pretty obvious that it's the narcissist that's the problem and not the X. So, but they do that as well. They try to tag team with the new supply to get the X to be the bad guy, so that they take the attention off themselves. Okay. Okay. Good for you for standing your ground. Okay, Leslie, the target changes with the hour, whoever is the most convenient at the time. Whatever helps with the NARC's agenda, I totally agree. Absolutely. Whatever is their issue, yeah. How do you walk the line between feeling the emotion so you can heal, but not inviting the trauma in for tea? So when we are dealing with a trauma, okay, an emotional trauma, especially if you're having been abused, what we tend to do is not only do we feel it, but we also tend to extrapolate and make it our fault. We do. So one of the most common things that I hear people who have been abused say is, what could I have done differently? How did I create this? So it's like they're blaming themselves for the trauma. They're blaming themselves instead of saying, you know what, my abuser was a fucking asshole or a fucking assholette. You know, instead of putting the blame and the shame back where it needs to be, what I see us doing is we tend to take it onto our own shoulders. And we almost like re-traumatize ourselves because we sit there and we're like, mea culpa, mea maxima culpa, my fault, all my fault. But it's like, wait a minute, all you did was love this person. How is it your fault that they decided to devalue and discard you, you know, no matter what you did? So I think the biggest way to not invite the trauma in is you can feel the emotions, you can feel sad, you can grieve, absolutely. And I think this is something that we don't address, is that when we are grieving the loss of the relationship, it's not so much that we miss, you know, the ups and the downs and the abuse. We miss that mirroring. We miss that part of them, which is really not real because all they were doing is mirroring us. We fell in love with ourselves and we miss that. And we're grieving the loss of that. And we're never going to get that back because that was never real. It was an illusion. So we have to grieve and we can feel that. Now, where we get into re-traumatizing ourselves is when we start blaming ourselves somehow for falling in love with that illusion. You're not wrong for having fallen in love with that illusion. I don't know anybody on the face of the planet that wouldn't fall in love with that illusion. When somebody presents themselves as Prince Hans, you know, from Frozen, oh, you like pizza? I like pizza. You like to ice skate? I like to ice skate. You like this? I like that. You know, who wouldn't fall in love with that? So we've got to forgive ourselves and we've got to allow ourselves to feel and not blame ourselves, but simply be, this is what is, and it happened, and I'm feeling it, and it sucks, but I'm not going to beat myself up for it. So that's where the re-traumatization comes in, is when we start beating ourselves up for it over and over and over and over again. Instead of beating ourselves up for it, I think it's better to just go, yeah, I'm sad. Yeah, I'm grieving. Yeah, I miss that mirroring. Damn fucking straight I do. And it wasn't real. Damn. That sucks ass. You know what I'm saying? Instead of putting a judgment on it and making yourself wrong and beating yourself up. So I think that's how we walk that line between feeling and not re-traumatizing ourselves. So make sure there's no judgment on you. It is what it is. And anybody would have fallen for it. Anybody. Because remember, abusers are master manipulators. Masters and mistresses of manipulation. They are. Abso-freaking-lutely. You betcha. Okay, let's see. Good Lord. Where did I go? Hang on. What is antisocial? Okay, antisocial is a personality disorder. So antisocial people usually have a prior diagnosis of, oh shoot, I'm sorry. My brain is going because I've been up since like 6 this morning. Oppositional defiance disorder. So they will usually have oppositional defiance disorder as their first diagnosis when they're 15 or so. They generally have a history of breaking societal rules, you know, being arsonists or graffitiing, vandalizing, harming small animals, breaking laws, you know, that type of thing. So antisocial, what that means is they do not apply or agree with the social norms. That's why it got called antisocial. So basically it went from psychopath to sociopath to antisocial. So it's like they keep trying to name it so it sounds pretty. If it walks like a duck and breaks the rules like a duck, it's probably a psychotic duck. So it's stupid. It's like, I'm sorry, you can call it whatever the hell you want. It still means somebody who doesn't play by the rules, who doesn't agree to society's laws, and who feels that they are above the law and can do whatever the hell they want, and they have absolutely no regrets, no remorse. So that's what antisocial is. And it just means that they don't apply, the societal rules do not apply to them. They continually break them and get away with it. So, yeah, anything goes. There's no moral compass. There is no there. Remember that. Okay, I'm so glad you cursed, Chris. It's refreshing. Thank you. Okay. Let's see. Emotions get less. Yeah. Okay. I just described your childhood. I'm so sorry. Okay. Okay. More info on parents. So, okay, Nicole, give me specifics. What do you mean you want more info on parents? So with the toxic parents, I'll try to give you as much as I can. The toxic parents, this is, okay, back up. This is why it is so important for us to do inner child work. Because if we had toxic parents, if we had a narcissistic mom or dad, or if we had a malignant borderline for a mom or a dad, they impacted our development, okay, as we were growing up. And we made some really not right decisions about who we are in the world based on how they treated us. So we got wounded when we were kids. So it's really important to start working on that original wound from that caregiver, because otherwise what we do is we go and we look for people who remind us of our caregiver, and in our little 4-year-old brain, 2-year-old brain, 6-year-old brain, 8-year-old brain, the wounded child's brain, we go, oh, here's this person that reminds me of mom or of dad. And you know what? If I can make them love me, I have proved mom and dad wrong. It doesn't work that way. What ends up happening is we just compound it and we make a shit sandwich with all of these progressively abusive and dysfunctional relationships. And we keep going for the same types over and over and over again because we're trying to fix this original wound instead of getting to the original wound going, damn, mom and dad were batshit crazy when I was 4. Holy shit, I made some really bizarre choices about who I am in the world. How about we work on that? There's an idea. So get the Inner Child Workbook by Catherine Taylor. Start working on your inner child at whatever age you got damaged by your original caregivers. Instead of trying to find romantic relationships to fix this, you got to fix this so that you don't go out and find people like your original caregivers. You find somebody who's healthy instead. So that's why it's really important to work on the inner child and the original wound, because whatever age we were is the age that's running us with our picker. That's where our picker is stuck, is at that age. And that's why we pick dysfunctional people. Work on your inner child. Okay, the martyrdom thing intrigues me. The tactics to justify behavior. How do I separate when a person is manipulating others' compassions or genuinely is a person hurting with a disabling disorder? You know what I find is that most of the disabled people I have come across don't feel sorry for themselves. Not in the least. They are the most amazing people on the face of the planet, and they don't act like they're any different from anybody else. But the ones who sit there and do the whole boo-hoo-hoo, look at me, I've got a disability, blah, 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 you're dealing with somebody who's probably got some other personality disorder going on, because most of the disabled people I have come across, they're not disabled. They look disabled, but they sure as hell don't act like it. So that's how you tell the difference, because normal people, whether they're disabled or not, are not looking for pity. They're not looking for manipulation. They're not looking to do the whole pity parties, poor me, yada, yada, yada thing. So that's how you got to watch for that. So there that is. My narc husband is out of the house now, but now he will not pay the bills if I don't have sex with him. Isn't that rape? Yeah, if you say no. I have CPTSD, and I know I will have a flashback now that he has left the home and he comes to visit and forces himself on me again. Can I call the police? Yeah, if you say no, it's no. No means no. It doesn't matter whether you're still married or not. That's the beautiful thing, is that although they're trying to get rid of those rules now, but you know, even if you're married, if you say no, it's rape if they force themselves on you and you've said in no uncertain terms no. So, best thing, get with a good therapist, document the living crap out of everything, get an order of protection, do not allow him back in the house. And if he's threatening with the bills, you're going to have to get a lawyer and make sure he's paying some sort of support, or that you're completely severed from him so he has no excuse to come back into your life in any way, shape, or form. So definitely talk to a lawyer. Get with a good therapist. And yeah, if you're saying no and he's forcing himself on you, that is rape in no uncertain terms. Absolutely. Okay, as an adopted child, I was there to fix all her feelings that she blamed on her infertility and based all of her issues on the fact that I couldn't fix that. Never mind that she had shock treatment years before I was even born. Oh my God, Amy, yes. Yeah, they make us responsible for stuff that is totally not our issue. in any way, shape, or form. So yeah, that's not cool. All right. Where am I? Thank you for being here. I've been so mentally abused my whole life. I was so fooled by such a mind fuck. Now my new husband is doing it. I'm 60 years old. Enough is enough. I will see a counselor. Good job. Thursday night, you have been a godsend. God bless you and thank you. You're very welcome, Barbara. Absolutely. Okay, my ex would frequently go into a rage against me and threaten to take her kids and leave my house. I finally called her bluff. Divorce papers signed. Good deal. It has to be rare, a self-aware narcissist. Yeah. Oh, is that Tudor? I see, because I don't know anything about him. So here's the deal, guys. Yeah. Cheryl, I tend to agree with you. So anyone who claims to be a quote-unquote self-aware narcissist, that's like an oxymoron. It really is. So, I mean, I have read some of the articles and some of them have been kind of insightful and helpful, but if that's who this person is saying they are, I would be very careful. I would just be careful. Just be careful. That's all I got to say. Would a narc abuser actually love someone who is playing games with them, rejecting them? No, it's all about the win. It is all about the win. Narcissists do not register love like we do. They don't. For them, it's a win-lose. Think of it this way. They've got very rigid thinking. There's no plasticity there at all. It's very rigid. It's like all nothing, good, bad, black, white. You know, it's either a win or lose. And to them, it's a win. It's all about the win. And if they can't get the win, then they obsess on it. That's when you get obsessive X syndrome, when you've left them. Now, if they leave you, they could care less. But if you've left them, that's when you get the stalkers and the weird shit, because how dare you? How dare you not let them win? So yeah, it's all about the win. They don't care. Yeah, no, it's all about the win for them. They don't love us. They don't care. They don't feel. They just don't feel. So it's, yeah, Debbie, it's all about the win. It's not about love. The best thing you can do with somebody like that is get as far away from them as possible for somebody who's playing games, and get them out of your life, file an order of protection, do whatever you have to do. Most narcissists are cowards. They are. And once they realize that you're not playing and you're not going to allow them to terrorize you and you're not going to put up with their shit, they generally go away because they're not going to win and they don't like not winning. So yeah, you got to take care of yourself and get this person out of your life. Don't play games with them. Don't have any further contact with them. Just be done. Are you done being abused? Great, then be done. That's my best advice. Oh my God. So Chris was just talking to Richie Grant and they were chatting and he said to say hello. Well, tell Richie I said hello too, because I just adore him. He's just awesome. Okay. My ex did that. She was harassing this other guy, got a job and harassed another guy from this one job, got fired, and the second job was harassing another guy and did triangulation against me and didn't know the guy, and I told her something about one of my old friends and she twisted the story and told this one guy the entire story, disgusting story, was about me. Yeah, they do that. They twist stuff like nobody's business. It's all about power and control. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you've got to give the shame back. So in Pete Walker's book, I think it's chapter 3, I'm not really sure, I've got to reread that one again. He talks about giving the shame and the anger back to the abuser where it belongs. Put it back where it belongs. It does not belong with us. Life is too short. Give it back to where it belongs. How do you do that? You can write a goodbye letter. So you do the good, the bad, the ugly, the horrific, and at the very, very end, goodbye in no uncertain terms. And then you either burn it, or there was a wonderful suggestion today is you address it to yourself and send it in the mail, but don't open it when you get it. Just take it out and burn it. So it's like you feel like you've sent it, but you really haven't. So I thought that was brilliant too. So yeah, absolutely. Okay. Thank you, Arthur. I cannot wait to start going to Europe. That's my evil plan, is that I would really, really, really love to be able to go to Ireland and to Scotland and Wales, England, UK. Because I've gotten a lot of people from there saying, please come see me. And I'm like, I'm trying. Trust me, I'm trying. I want to travel the world. So yeah, that would be cool. I would love that. We actually had somebody come in from, where did they, where did they come from today? Was it Maryland? Maryland. Somebody flew down, bless them, from Maryland to come see me. And I'm just like, oh my God, that's amazing. So, I mean, I'm trying to get to the major cities so that I can hit everybody so that they don't have to travel long distances. I think next time I'm going to give a prize. Next time I'm going to give a prize, free book or something. So, yeah. Whew. Anyway, that was pretty cool. Okay. Love the way you put all the dysfunction into words. Glad I can help. Okay. Conduct disorder. Yes. Yes. And then before that, oppositional defiance disorder. Yeah, that's they just keep breaking the rules. The rules don't apply to them. That's the sociopath. That's what we were talking about. I blame myself for leaving. I felt as if I was abandoning a helpless child. That's what they make us feel. So it's not true. They're adults. They get to own their own shit. The older he got, the worse he got. No, we're trying to protect him from himself. Yeah, you can't. You can't, because they don't get better. They get worse as they age. That goes for parents, that goes for romantic partners, that goes for siblings, that goes for bosses, that goes for, you know, and honest to God, somebody came up to me today and said, you know, my God, the narcissism is rampant in the corporate world. And she was talking about writing a book, and I'm like, do it, because there are narcissists everywhere, and what they do is and you know, John's told me about this multiple times. When somebody's incompetent and they're narcissistic and they're having problems, instead of firing their ass, which is what should happen, they fucking promote them up and out so they don't have to deal with them anymore. And this is why you get assholes at the top of corporations that decide to buy $40,000 shower curtains with gold thread in it, because you're dealing with a fucking narcissist. So yeah, I really think that needs to be exposed, and that needs to start really being talked about, is how corporations, instead of firing people because they're afraid of being sued, they start promoting them up and out, or laterally promoting them to get them out of wherever they are. So that needs to be talked about, and that happens all the time. Okay. All right. Yeah, they know right from wrong, and they don't care. Absolutely. They absolutely don't care. All they care about is the win. Yeah, when you are leaving an abuser, they will call on every single flying monkey in the country in their realm of influence to try to harm you, hurt you, hoover you for them, abuse you for them, you know, abuse by proxy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And yeah, you are probably going to have to change your phone number. Yeah, you are probably going to have to block them on every single social media. Yeah, you're probably going to have to get an order of protection. Do it. Do it. Take your power back. Don't allow them to terrorize you, to intimidate you. Don't allow it. Just don't allow it. You've got to take your power back and let them know, buck stops here, motherfucker. I'm not putting up with this shit. We're done. Yeah, absolutely. And get rid of all the flying monkeys. Just get rid of them. Mother abuses, father acknowledges but never removes her, stays with her. Yeah, so that is enabling. So when you've got a relationship, a parental relationship, where one is the abuser for sure, and the other one's the nicer parent, but they stay with the abuser. My mom did this. My mom knew my dad was batshit crazy. She knew it. She absolutely knew it, but she stayed with him out of fear. She stayed with him out of fear because she had been abused herself, and so she had all the codependency issues. Hang on. Excuse me. She had all the codependency issues. She was terrified of being penniless with kids, you know, and my dad was an attorney. And let's face it, he would have racked and stacked her if he could have, if she left him. So, yeah, so she stayed with him, and it was an enabling situation, and that's not healthy either. And unfortunately, what that did was teach the girls in my family, oh, you put up with abuse. You stay with an abuser. You know, so no bueno, no bueno. Okay. EMDR is great. EMDR is wonderful for post-traumatic stress. I love it. It's also good for dissociative identity disorder, because dissociative identity disorder is generally rooted in trauma. So if you have periods of dissociating, EMDR can be really, really helpful and very empowering to be able to remember things, and to be remembering things and integrate things and take your power back. So I love EMDR. I think it's great. Okay, there is that. Okay. Wait, say that again. Narc abusers who claim they could love a person who is impressive enough, do they eventually devalue and act like monsters no matter what, even with a rich, successful person? Unless they want something from them. If they're getting something from them or they want something from them, they will treat the person very well unless and until they realize that they're not going to get what they want from them. And then they'll start to devalue and discard. Absolutely. Okay. Yeah, they don't love. Remember, these guys don't love. These girls, these guys don't love. Read an article by a sociopath who says they feel empathy in a different way than we do and can easily tuck it away. Again, you're reading an article by a sociopath who will say whatever they need to get you to feel sorry for them. I'm just saying, be careful, self-identified sociopaths, narcissists, etc. Be very careful of that. Do they feel empathy? No, I don't think they do. They don't. You cannot harm another living being, that means animals as well, and have a conscience. You can't. It's not possible. It's like oil and water. It does not mix. So no, they do not. They do not feel the way we do. They do not have empathy. If they can, quote unquote, tuck it away, that's bullshit. I'm sorry. I've got a Jiminy Cricket that sits on my shoulder that says, ooh, you might want to apologize to that person for having said this. Or, ooh, that probably wasn't a nice thing to say. Or, ooh, gee, don't flip off the old lady for going 35 miles an hour in a 45 zone. Do you see where I'm going with that? Although I will think it in my head. But anyway, the point being is that no, they don't feel, they don't care. They have no moral compass. No moral compass. None. All right. So here in Georgia, the police would laugh in my face if I told them my husband raped me. Okay, then what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to get an order of protection and make sure you have absolutely no contact. And that way you've got a legal document, a paper trail, so that if he continues to try to harm you, you can say, hey, I've got an order of protection. He's not allowed in. He's not allowed near me, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You've got to do that. You've got to protect yourself. You've got to. Gots to. Is it bad to mess with a narc that you have been around? Mine will absolutely refuse to speak if I'm in the same room, but if I simply walk into the next room, can still hear them, they blabber away. I will always want to just walk in and out randomly to fuck with the person. Why are you around this person? Just don't be around them. Don't be around them. Life is too short. They don't care. It's like there's that little kid part of us that thinks that we're getting back at them, right? The truth of the matter is they don't care. They don't care. Why should you? They don't care. Go live your life. Life is too short and there's too many amazing peach cobblers out there to eat. Go do. Go be. Stop messing with these idiots. They don't deserve your time or attention. They don't. Go be you. Go have fun. Go live life. That's really the best thing you can do. Okay. There just aren't enough truly good therapists out there. I've been through so many and they don't hold a candle to what I've learned from you. Thank you very much. Well, and the reason is, guys, is because the schools refuse to teach this stuff. I'm not kidding you. When I went through school, I had this wonderful professor. His name was John Nixon. Love that man, because he was the only one that would really tell me the truth. And when we were talking, because we would meet for dinner and stuff before class, and when we were talking, he was like, Chris, the reason why we don't teach about personality disorders is because of the APA and the ACA. And the last time that the DSM-5 was done, there was a huge fight between one faction and the rest. And the humanists wanted to get rid of the labeling of the DSM-5, and they wanted to get rid of the personality disorders. I'll give you 3 guesses why, because the ones that didn't want to get rid of it probably had it, if you know what I'm saying. So it's really important that the targets of abuse get loud, and angry, justifiably so, and let counselors know this is not okay, guys. Every counselor out there should have teaching in domestic violence. They should know that as soon as a couple comes in and it's clear that there is abuse going on, you end the fucking session. I can't tell you how many times I've had to do that. It's like as soon as they sit down and it's like, I'm like, okay, is there physical stuff going on? What's going on here? Yeah, there's, we're fighting, we're hitting each other, we're calling each other's names. Okay, I'm going to end this session right here. Now I'm going to do individual with you two, and I'm not going to have you two together. Why? Because the fucking abuser will use whatever is said in couples counseling against the target of abuse. Counselors don't know that. They didn't, basic knowledge. So my thing is that we need to speak up and we need to start complaining loudly to the boards of each state. We need to complain loudly to the colleges, the universities that teach psychology. We need to complain loudly to the APA and the ACA and say, this is unacceptable. This is unacceptable. We need to have training in domestic violence because it's happening everywhere. We need to have training in narcissistic abuse, you know, because it's happening all over the world. Same exact playbook, swear to God. And we need to have training in survivors of abuse because they have the same exact symptoms all over the world. It's common fucking sense, not so common. What the actual? It pisses me right the fuck off. We could have a lot of really good counselors out there, but nobody's willing to talk about it because it's a hot button topic. Oh my God. Well, fuck that shit. I am willing to piss a few people off. I don't really give a fuck. You know what? As long as it keeps my people safe, I don't care. So it makes me, you just got me going, girl. Tell you what. So it makes me very angry because there should be a hell of a lot more counselors like me out there. There should, in every fucking city, there should be 20 of me. Not just me. There should be 20 in every fucking city going, hello, narcissistic abuse. Hello, abusers. Hello, survivor syndrome. Hello. So yeah, we need to get loud and proud. We do, because it is an under talked about topic and it's supposedly a political hot button. Yeah, fuck political correctness. Fuck that shit. I am not interested in protecting the abuser. The abuser can go fuck themselves sideways with an unlubricated baseball bat as far as I'm concerned. I have seen the damage they have done. I have seen the children they have harmed. I have seen the horror of what they have wrought upon another generation. So you know what? Fuck them. Fuck them sideways. That's all I've got to say about that. So double love. So hi, that was my rant for the evening. Sorry that and I'm going to the ACA conference this week. I am here in Atlanta, going to the ACA conference this week, and you bet your sweet bippy I'm going to find whoever the fucking president is, and I'm going to bend their fucking ear because it's like, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the bullshit. I'm tired of it. And I'm tired of them churning out counselors out of these factory universities without giving them the training to deal with domestic violence. It just pisses me right the fuck off. So anyway, there it is. Whew, got a little winded there. Whew. All right, so, okay, where am I? Empaths say that weight retention is from holding on other people's emotions. It stagnates into weight. I have the opposite problem, unable to gain weight. And their presence, no, that does not mean you're not empathic. That's bullshit. So here's the deal, guys. Everybody deals with stress differently. Some people hang on to weight when they get stressed out. Other people can't eat and don't put on any weight at all. It depends on your body. It does not depend on whether you're empathic or not or taking on other people's energies. Do I believe in taking on other people's energies? Yes, that's why you feel exhausted. But what it is that some people, when they're stressed out, they eat. I'm an emotional eater. I will be the first to admit that. It's like, boy, if I'm stressed out, the first thing I want is a big, juicy cheeseburger with bacon and all sorts of kinds of sauces and stuff on it, or pizza. I love pizza. So, emotional eating is one way to do it. The other end of the spectrum is some people, when they get stressed out, they don't eat at all. And they don't gain weight because they're such a nervous wreck, they can't eat. So it has nothing to do with empathic abilities. It has to do with how do you process stuff? How do you deal with stress? Are you an emotional eater or are you an emotional not eater? And either way is normal. So don't beat yourself up for that. Absolutely. Yeah, NPDs are very much attracted to positions of power. They love positions of power, and you will find them in a lot of CEO positions, you bet. Okay. EMDR is eye movement desensitization reprogramming. So I don't practice it, so I'm only going to give you a real basic of what it is. So it's the therapist has an object. It's almost like hypnosis, but not hypnosis. They have an object and you're moving your eyes back and forth watching this object. And what it does, and I don't understand how, because again, I don't practice it. I've never taken a class in it. I've had it done on me a couple of times. I really loved it. I thought it was great. What it does is it bypasses the amygdala so that you're not getting thrown into a flashback as you are recounting the traumatic event. So you're able to recount the traumatic event without getting thrown into a flashback, panic mode flashback. So it short circuits the amygdala. So how, why, I don't know, but I've had it done on me a few times and I loved it. I thought it was great. Very empowering, very awesome. And it's great for veterans. Love it because they can recount what happened to them without being thrown into a flashback. So yeah, here that is. Oh, cool. Yeah, go get those books. Start working on yourself. Seriously, that's the best thing you can do. Yeah, narcissists love the power and control. That's why they get attracted to positions of power. Yeah, anybody who says that they are a self-aware narcissist, be very skeptical. You know, guards up, shields up, phasers on stun. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, empaths are great bosses. I've had a few of them that were wonderful, and then I've had a few of them that were narcissists. And you know, not the empaths, but the empathic bosses were great. The narcissistic bosses were horrible. So yeah, you can always tell which is which. Okay. Okay, hang on. I'm trying to answer all these questions. Thank you, Ryan. Because he just posted a thing on EMDR. So if your therapist has no idea what you're talking about, if you're talking about abuse and they're looking at you like, you know, huh? Fire them. And you don't have to do it slowly. It can just be like, you know what? This relationship is not working out. Thank you for your help. I'm going to go find somebody who knows what the hell I'm talking about. Bye-bye. And then fire them. Fire them. Do not worry about hurting your therapist's feelings. Not your job. And if your therapist is making you feel like it's your job to worry about hurting their feelings, you've got the wrong therapist. Because not every therapeutic relationship is going to click. I've had clients fire me. I have fired clients. Seriously. And there's nothing wrong with that as long as I have referrals for them to send them to somebody else. But the point being is if it's not working, don't feel bad about it. End it. Be done. Go take care of you. You are the priority. Go take care of you. Absolutely. Okay. Yeah, you don't want to internalize everything. Oh, geez, she's letting you talk now that you're leaving. Just end it. Just end it. Be done. Are you done being abused? Be done. All right. Yeah, you don't need to internalize anything with shame. Ever. Ever. Ever, ever, ever. Okay. Yeah, the bad counselors compound the problem because they don't get it. They don't know what they're dealing with. They assume that they are dealing with somebody who actually has a conscience. They're not. They've got to understand. You're dealing with a monster. You really are. Yeah, we are. So when we are faced with abuse, okay, even when we leave the abusive relationship, sometimes we still have that tape running in our head, okay? And it's almost as if the abuser is still there, okay? And our adrenaline level is still up here. Our cortisol level is still up here, which is why we are exhausted all the time. We get adrenal fatigue. We don't feel well. We don't get enough sleep. If we do get sleep, it's interrupted sleep. It's like we don't sleep soundly through the whole night. So when you leave the abusive relationship, hugely important to take care of you, body, mind, spirit, because you are healing all of your systems. You are reprogramming your brain. You are reprogramming your interior dialogue. You are reprogramming your sleep patterns. You're reprogramming who you are and figuring out who you are. We don't know who we are when we leave an abusive relationship. So, yeah, absolutely. Okay. Okay. Yeah, you don't have to talk to your therapist if they're harming you. If they're harming you, you just end it. Sorry, I'm canceling your appointment. Nope, not going to reschedule. Thanks for playing. Bye-bye. That's what you do. Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Debbie. Thank you. Okay, guys, I'm going to stop because I've been talking literally all day. So I just want to say thank you again to Chris Piedmont and to Beth for coming out. Mercury, you know, is my management company, and thank you for setting up the book signings, and thank you for the lecture today. I had so much fun. Smyrna! Who knew? The community center is gorgeous. If you've not been to the community center in Smyrna, you should go because it's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. So thanks, you guys, and thanks for all your questions. And the next week's show, I have no idea what it's on. I'm going to have to figure that one out. The next book signing will be in Boise for sure. I'll let you guys know when that is. The one after that will be in Hawaii. Then we're going to Florida, and then we're planning on doing California. So that's the evil plan for now. So anyway, thanks, you guys. Keep the questions coming. I will do my show at the regularly scheduled time. Oh, no, I won't. Oh, shoot. Damn it. What time is our flight? Do you know? I have no idea. Okay, it may be an on-the-fly show because I think we're flying back home next Sunday. So I'll try to do a show sometime. So I'll let you know. So anyway, there it is. We're in California. We're going to work our way up. So we're going to do like San Diego, Orange County, Los Angeles, Santa Barbara, Sacramento, San Francisco, Berkeley, Oakland area. And that's probably as far north as we're going to make it. Although I may just go ahead and try to go up to Chico because that's where my family is from, and my sister still lives there, and I love my sister, so I'm probably going to go up and see her. So anyway, I'm tired. I'm going to go to bed. Anyway, thanks, you guys, for everything. And it was so nice to meet all of you, and it's so nice to put faces to names because now I can know who you are because it's kind of like, oh, yeah, I know who you are. That's really cool. Anyway, thanks, you guys. I love you guys so much. Have a great, great week, and I will talk to you later. Bye.